am Jessie the Sleepy Koala. Welcome back. Today I will be doing the My Favorite Things tag. This tag was created by Lauren Adele, and I was inspired to do this tag by watching videos from Miss Danielle and Becky from Teacup the Storyteller. It looked like such a fun tag, so I thought I would give it a go. I will warn you all now that what I have learnt from going through these questions and figuring out the answers is I don't really have single answers for what my favorite thing for a lot of things are. I just have a group of things that I call my favorite instead, because one thing, I can't choose one thing, that's too hard. So a warning to you all that I will blather on about multiple things for most of these questions. Question number 1, what is your favorite musician or band? I had to go look through my iTunes for this because I had no idea off the top of my head. Most of my music is actually from Glee, because I grew up with Glee. That is how I got exposed to a lot of music, but they're not the original artists, so I don't really want to choose them, but most of my iTunes is Glee. The other part of my iTunes is musicals, but there is a musical question later on, so I can't talk about musicals now, can I? And instead, I have to find other things instead. What I have found is the 3 essentials playlists that I have downloaded for individual artists are Sarah Bareilles, Taylor Swift, and Pink. So I'm gonna go with a combination of Sarah Bareilles, Taylor Swift, and Pink. Those are the 3 top people that I listen to because I decided to actually download their essentials soundtracks. Question number 2, what is your top 3 favorite films? So this is the one question where I have a definitive favorite. So if it had asked me for one, I could easily answer, but now I have to think up 2 more. The ultimate favorite movie that I love is Shrek. It is so much fun. It is witty. It is charming. It's just such a good movie, and it has aged beautifully, at least in my opinion. So I love Shrek, and that would 100% be my go-to if I need to watch something nice. I know that there's times that I've watched scary things late at night and then been too scared to go to sleep, so I put on Shrek instead to help battle away the scary thoughts and the scary nightmares. It's just such a fun movie, and I love it. The other 2 that I decided to go with, firstly, we have Amazon's Cinderella, which so many people hate. So many people seem to despise this movie, but I love it. It's so aggressively camp and just so aggressively making fun of itself that it's fun. It's a fun movie that has catchy songs and is just something, again, to put on when you just need a pick-me-up. And maybe that's a theme with movies that I really like. Movies that you just put on because you enjoy them, not because they have to be like the best of the best ever or anything, but just because they make you happy. And Cinderella makes me happy. I really enjoyed that movie. The third one is The Devil Wears Prada, which is a fantastic film that has aged so well. Anne Hathaway and Meryl Streep have such good chemistry and do so well with creating the relationship between Andy and Miranda in the movie. And it's just so good. It's not one that I would say is fun in the same way that Cinderella and Shrek are fun, but it is still an engaging and enjoyable movie to watch, and I really, really like it. I think this is one that has also aged very well, which is always very nice. I have this feeling that when I was younger, like in high school, I tried to read the book, or at least I got it from the library and then didn't actually read it. But I have this feeling that is telling me this, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I think I tried to read it when I was a kid. But I didn't actually read the book. I know I haven't actually read the book, so I must have just picked it up and then not read it or something. But it's something that I don't think I'd want to read the book now. I'm happy for it to just be a movie and I don't need to read the source material personally. Question number 3, what's your favorite scent? I have a diminished sense of smell, so I generally can't smell most things. And when I can smell things, it's overpowering and nauseating. But sometimes I can smell things and it is nice and pleasant and what I imagine other people have. And the scent that I really like is vanilla. It's just really nice. When I was in high school, I had this hand cream and I didn't like hand cream, but it smelled like vanilla and for some reason it was something that I could smell fairly consistently. So I would use it all the time simply because I liked the smell of it, even though I didn't like the feel of hand cream. Question number 4, what is your favorite Disney movie? Get ready for another question where I give you multiple answers. Let's go through the life of Jess and her favorite Disney movies over time. This will be a cumulative list. These are not replacing one another. They are just adding on top. First, we have little 5-year-old Jess, who wanted more than anything to be Ariel from The Little Mermaid. She loved The Little Mermaid so much that she grew up to wear poofy dresses and dye her hair red and achieve her goal of becoming Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Let's move a little bit through time, and then we get to slightly older Jess, I guess. Mulan. Oh my gosh, Mulan. I used to have a video of Mulan that I would watch at my grandparents' house, and I watched it for so many years that it started to break in the end by the time I was late high school, and we couldn't continue playing it because it might have damaged the machine. But I love Mulan so much. It's such a good Disney movie. The songs are so catchy and just everything in it is so good. I actually rewatched it fairly recently, like sometime this year, and it holds up. That is a movie that has lasted the test of time. It is still as good today as it was when I was watching it when I was 12. It is such a good Disney film. Let's get a bit older to an age that I don't actually know because this one I've just kind of always loved, but I don't remember when I started loving it. Treasure Planet! Treasure Planet is so good. Have I ever seen the original Treasure Island? No, I have not, but Treasure Planet is where it is at. And specifically what I love about Treasure Planet, like I love the characters, I love the plot, I love the world building. God, putting it in space is so good. But the music, the score of that movie is incredible. And I still feel my heart sing when those horns play. And it's so good. It's just such a catchy theme. And I love it so much. So Treasure Planet, definitely in there. Now, let's fast forward to adult Jess in the last couple of years. What is the newest addition to my Disney movie repertoire, you might ask? Frozen 2. Frozen 2 was fantastic. I thought it had such a good story to it, and everything that it did to further along the plot with the two sisters, the character development, the world expansion. I loved learning so much more about the world, and my God, was I so emotional in some of those scenes. Oh, some of them was so emotional. Frozen 2 is also up there as one of my favorite Disney films ever. These 4 are just absolutely fantastic. I love them to pieces, and they are things that I would definitely recommend putting on for kids or adults, or just whenever you want to have a Disney party. These are the ones that I would suggest to choose. Moving on from that fangirling, the next question, question 5, is what is your favorite season? My favorite season is winter. I really like it when it is cold out. I currently live in California, and I can definitively say it is not cold enough here. I don't want it to be absolutely freezing, but I just want it to be a bit colder than it actually is. Winter is wonderful because you can always put on more layers to stay warm. And you know what? Layers are so cute, and there's so many cute layer things you can do, and so many cute winter clothes that you can wear. And I love a good summer dress, but winter, you can wear tights and boots and coats. And I love these things so much. I went to Seattle just after Christmas and it was freezing there. It was down to like, the worst was -6 Celsius, which I think is 20s, in the 20s Fahrenheit. I'm not 100% sure. I can do the calculations when it is higher up in temperature. Once we get down past like 50 Fahrenheit, I'm like, yeah, I'm not quite so sure. I loved being in that sub-frozen temperature range and being able to pull on all of my layers and my coat every day and wear my boots, and it was snowing everywhere. And I was definitely able to tell by the end of my Seattle trip that I totally could live in a climate like that. Could I live in the deep winter of Montana like my husband used to? I don't think I want to go that far. That's a bit far. But I would be very much okay with being in that 20s to 30s range of Fahrenheit, or that -6 to 0 range of Celsius. Those are my new favorite temperatures right there. Question 6. What is your favorite seasonal drink? I don't really have a seasonal drink. I have an all-seasons drink, which is iced black coffee, and I think it's delicious, and I drink it all the time in all the seasons, even when it is very cold and people always look at me weird. But I don't really have a seasonal drink that I have. I sometimes get the seasonal drinks that Starbucks puts out, but I don't want to have them all the time because they're full of sugar and calories, even if they are delicious. But a lot of the time, I just want coffee if I go to Starbucks. Not necessarily a bunch of sugar as well. So those seasonal drinks are nice. I do like those. Generally, I just drink iced black coffee. Question number 7. Do you have a favorite article of clothing? I do. I have this coat that is also a raincoat. It is very pretty. It is incredibly well made, and it is so warm, and I love it. I love it so much. It was so good going to Seattle and just taking this coat as my coat, because that way, when it started raining, I didn't have to worry about having freezing cold rain go through my coat, because my coat is waterproof and it is wonderful. But this is one of my most prized possessions, and I love it so much, and I just don't have reason to use it in California because it barely ever rains here. Question 8. Who is your favorite author? Brandon Sanderson. He's my favorite. I love the man. I love his work. It's good. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. I have a Cosmere reading order video if you want to know how to get into the Cosmere. Link it up here, and I'll link it down below. Question number 9. Do you have a favorite spot for reading and writing? No, I don't think so. I have spots that I go to when I read. I have these really nice big blue armchairs that I sit in, and I'll often read there, so I guess that's probably the closest choice. But I also read in bed a lot. If I'm out and about, I love going to a cafe and sitting there and reading. And COVID really disrupted my reading plans of going to cafes and just sitting there all day and reading a book, because that's what I used to do all the time. And then COVID hit and I couldn't do it anymore. So I love reading at cafes, but I'll read outside at a park bench. I'll read in a waiting room. I'll read while standing in line. I just kind of read wherever I can pull out my book. And if I'm at home, I'll tend to sit in my blue chair. So I guess my blue chair is the answer to this question. Question 10. What is your favorite food or dessert? Normally, the answer to this would be Italian for my favorite food. But I have been on this giant burrito kick for a while now, because I live in California, which has a very big Hispanic population. So there is a lot of very authentic Mexican cuisine around. And God, do I love a good burrito. So I think I've just got to go with burritos. The Italian has been shoved to the side. Mexican is in. That is the choice. That is my favorite at the moment. In terms of desserts, though, we are going back to Italian because I love tiramisu. I love it so much. It's so tasty. I particularly love when it is made with both coffee and alcohol in it. That is always nice when it's got both of them, but I'll eat any type of tiramisu because it is delicious. Question 11. What is your favorite time of day? I love the early morning, like the early morning, like 6 a.m. early morning. It is so peaceful and tranquil and serene, and I love it so much. Whenever I can, when I am feeling well, I get up at 6 a.m. or sometimes 5:45 if I can. so that I can go out for a walk and just have a walk around my neighborhood as the sun is rising. And then I can come home and I can calmly make breakfast and get ready. And I just still have so much time left over to then go read my book or do some drawing or just take some time for myself. So I love early mornings and I love my routine for early mornings. It just depends on my fatigue levels of whether I am actually able to get out of bed that early in the morning, and sometimes I can't, and that can go on for long stretches. Like at the moment, currently, I can't do my early morning routine just because fatigue sucks. But when I can, that is my favorite time of day, is that early morning when it is calm and peaceful. Question 12, what is your favorite color? So my favorite color used to be pink, and it's been pink for a very long time, but red has always been that secondary favorite. And I think red is finally starting to nudge out pink from that first space and is taken over as the king of the colors, because I've been faced with the decision several times recently where I can choose pink or red, and I've gone with the red. So I think red is now officially my favorite color. I just love it. I think it's great. I think it's such a good color. Question 3. Nope. Not question 3. Question 13. Who are your top 3 favorite YouTube channels? So I specifically chose channels that are not booktube channels because I know so many booktube channels and it's just, I can't just choose 3. That's just too difficult. So I chose non-booktube channels for this, with the first being Jessica Calgren-Fozzard, the second being Morgan Drinks Coffee, and the third being Rachel Maxey. All 3 of these channels are fantastic. I love how much Jessica is open and honest about her disabilities and living with them, and how much content she puts out there to try and help other people who might be going through the same thing. That's actually how I found her videos, is her talking about her disabilities. She also does banger vintage videos. They're so good. That is the other thing that I watch Jessica for. She does tutorials, she does dress hauls. They are like very good. She has impeccable style, and I've definitely looked to her for inspiration for my own wardrobe before. Hello, Editing Jess here. I have a fun story to insert into this section because after I filmed this video, I was at a pizza shop and the girl who served me asked if I knew a YouTuber called Jessica Calgren-Fozzard because I reminded her of Jessica, and that is just really great. That's hilarious to me. I'm very pleased that my vintage style is being recognized and that my inspirations are coming through in what I am wearing, because I really do look up to Jessica in like a lot of regards. Like I love her vintage stuff. I love the way she dresses. I love how confident she is with what she wears. And she's talked about it on her videos about how she has the confidence to wear the stuff because that's just who she is. She loves wearing this stuff. This is what she wants to wear. And I love that so much. I love that confidence. But I also just look up to her because of all of her disability stuff as well. And like myself having like medical issues, like I really can relate to a lot of what she goes through and what she says. And she's just such a great YouTuber, guys. I really, really recommend like checking her out. She does absolutely wonderful stuff, like lovely, lovely lifestyle vlogging, and I like really, really like her stuff. So she does incredible videos, and her stuff on disability is just amazing, and I highly recommend watching it. Next up, we have Morgan from Morgan Drinks Coffee. Morgan is just like a little ball of sunshine. She is amazing, and she is just so much fun to watch. She is so knowledgeable about coffee and about how to make coffee, and I love drinking coffee so much. And I would love to know more about making coffee, and that's why I watch her videos. But even just her fun videos where she puts different liquids into her coffee machine to see if they can brew coffee, she still just knows so much about things like how things are going to boil, how they're different to water, how this will affect the process, and how she needs to adjust because of this. And she's just so knowledgeable and just such a delight to watch. Like, she's always so chipper and happy And I highly recommend her if you want to know anything about coffee, or if you just want to have some fun videos to watch. She's got a lot of them. Rachel is a YouTube channel that I only found very recently, though I have seen her videos suggested for quite a while. But I finally clicked on, I think, a vintage clothing style video, because she also does vintage fashion. And I loved it. And then I just went down the rabbit hole of watching her videos. And she has such fun videos. She is so crafty. She makes so many cool things. One of my favorite videos to watch is she made a little book nook where there's the little scene that sits in this little cutout that you can put in between your books. And it looked incredible. I was so impressed by it. So I love watching her content as just an alternative to some of the other stuff that I watched, and I do highly recommend her videos. I'll leave links for all of these YouTubers down below if you want to check them out, and really I recommend. They're all fantastic. Question 14. What is your favorite musical? Get ready for another grab bag of different things, because I don't have a single answer to this question. The best stage musicals I have seen live, there are 3 of them. I saw Aladdin, which had incredible costuming, incredible dancing. The way that they adapted the story to benefit the stage worked so well, and the new characters were so lovable. And it had the most incredible set changes that I've seen in a musical. Things were constantly being pulled in and out or switched around so that the set could change. But the one that sticks with me and will stick with me forever is when Aladdin is going to the Cave of Wonders and he gets to the outside, and there was this giant swooping in of this tiger's face onto the roof, and all of these walls came in at the same time, and it was incredible. It was only on stage for like 3 minutes before it was taken away, but it was just such an incredible set change that I couldn't get over it. So that was a fantastic one that I saw live. Another great live one was Frozen. You can tell that they put a lot of time and effort into adapting that to be a stage musical, because they have done incredibly well to introduce the new medium and to adapt things so that they suit the actual medium it is in. This is not the Disney film, but on a stage. This is a proper stage production of the story, and it is fabulous. It's so good. The new songs that they wrote for the musical are really good. The costuming is incredible. The sets are great. And the thing is, everyone is so sick of Let It Go. Like, so sick of it. And I think that that's very fair. But Let It Go was one of the highlights of that entire musical. The whole thing was amazing. But what they did with Let It Go was incredible. And I went and saw it with my mom and my brother. And my mom doesn't know Frozen except for Let It Go. And my brother doesn't care much for Frozen. But we got to the end of the first act. And it's the end of the first act. It is the finale of the first act. And we looked at each other and were just blown away by how good that performance had been. So, I highly recommend Frozen. Something I've just remembered about Aladdin, the scene of A Whole New World, they had a flying carpet that they moved around the stage, and it honestly was the worst part of the musical. It just didn't have the same pizzazz that the rest of the musical had, and was the letdown. So I was expecting Let It Go to be the letdown of the musical in the same way, and it wasn't, and it was insane and so good, and I highly, highly recommend that you go see Frozen on stage if you can, because it is such a good experience. Finally, the last fantastic production that I've seen on stage was Chess the Musical. This was actually an amateur production that I saw, but the thing that really stood out to me, and I remember it to this day, is the setup on the stage. They had half a chessboard on the stage, like this, and then they had stairs at these corners going up and back to a landing. And then in the middle, between the chessboard and the raise, they sat the orchestra. And it was just such a unique and good setup, and it's always stuck with me. So that one was also a fantastic production. Next up is hats off to my original musical. That was also fantastic. Les Mis was the first musical I ever saw, and it stole my heart and got me into musical theatre. I saw an amateur production. It was fantastic. It was so good. It was as good, if not better, than the professional production I saw of Les Mis like 4 or 5 years after that. Like, I was so blown away seeing this production. It was incredible. Moving on from Les Mis, I have to give a shout out to the musical I am currently obsessed with, Tick, Tick, Boom, which was recently released on Netflix with Andrew Garfield playing Jonathan Larson. Did you guys know that Spider-Man can sing? Because Spider-Man can sing! Wow! Like, he's really good! He is a very good singer and does an incredible job in this musical. The songs are incredibly catchy, and I've had them in my head for weeks since I saw this musical, and they're just still there all the time. It's on Netflix. I highly recommend it. It's the autobiographical musical of Jonathan Larson's life, the guy who wrote Rent. And finally, if I had to pick a musical and give it the crown jewel of best musical in my mind, it has to be Hamilton. I was obsessed with Hamilton back when it first came out, to the point where I was writing essays about it in my uni classes. It really swept me away, and I loved it so much. But the thing is, I didn't like the performance that I saw of it. I saw the Sydney production earlier in 2021, and I didn't enjoy it very much. I found that they tried too hard to be the original cast instead of being their own production of Hamilton, which is what I wanted to see. And there was nothing wrong with the performance. The performances were very good, and they all did fantastically at the job they were doing. It's just I didn't like the job they were trying to do. I didn't want to see the original Broadway cast musical because I had seen that on Disney Plus and was able to look at it through a different lens and through a different way of viewing a musical. I wanted to see the Australian Hamilton cast, and I didn't really get that. So I was quite disappointed seeing it on stage, which it's just kind of funny because it is probably my favorite musical of all time, but I didn't enjoy watching it when I finally saw it. Question 15, what is your favorite place to visit? I went to the Hunter Valley early in 2021 with a couple of friends, and it was wonderful. We went on a wine tour and we got to play with farm animals and dogs and see the stars, and it was fantastic. I loved being out there. It was nice and peaceful and tranquil, and the trip came right in the middle of when I was getting ready to move countries. So I was so busy, and I just had this little weekend where I didn't have to think about any of that, and I could just relax and drink great wine, hang out with wonderful people, and enjoy beautiful scenery. So if you are ever in New South Wales, Australia, near Sydney, I would highly recommend taking a trip out to the Hunter Valley and doing a wine tour or just traveling around, because it is so beautiful out there. The final question is, who do you tag? I will be tagging Pam from Pam Shenanigans, Tilly Booth, and Jane from Lady Jane Books. But of course, if anyone is watching and would like to do this tag, please feel free to do it because it is a lot of fun. Thank you for watching, everyone. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye!